What makes a person change so drastically that they go from being one of Islam's fiercest enemies to one of its greatest supporters? This is the incredible story of Umar ibn Khattab, a man whose transformation shook the very foundations of early Islam. His journey from a brutal opponent to a fearless leader and justice bringer is one of the most inspiring in history. In this video, we'll dive into the key moments that led to his change, his powerful role in Islam, and the lessons we can all learn from his life. Stay with us to discover how one man's heart was transformed by faith and how he became a legendary figure in the history of Islam. The early life of Umar ibn Khattab, Umar ibn Khattab was born into the powerful and respected Adi clan of the Quraysh tribe in Mecca, around 584 CE. Known for his strength, intelligence, and fierce nature, he was raised to be a leader. From a young age, Umar was deeply involved in tribal affairs and was known for his sharp mind and bold decisions. Before embracing Islam, Umar was a staunch enemy of the Prophet Muhammad and actively opposed the early Muslims. His fearsome reputation grew as he used his strength to persecute those who followed Islam. However, despite his outward hardness, Umar was a man of great conviction, and his life was on the brink of a monumental change. Little did anyone know, this fierce opponent would soon become one of the greatest supporters of Islam. The moment of change Umar ibn Khattab's transformation began on a fateful day when he set out to harm the Prophet Muhammad. With anger in his heart and a sword in his hand, Umar was determined to stop Islam. However, on his way, he encountered a friend who told him that his own sister had secretly embraced Islam. Furious, Umar rushed to their home. When he arrived, he found his sister and her husband quietly reading the Quran. In a moment of intense emotion, he struck his sister, but when he saw the verses she was reading, something inside him changed. The words of the Quran, like a spark, reached his heart. In disbelief, Umar asked to hear more, and as he listened to the verses, his heart softened. Deeply moved, Umar immediately left for the Prophet Muhammad to embrace Islam. He declared his faith, becoming one of the strongest supporters of the new faith, proving that even the hardest heart could be transformed by the truth of Islam. Umar ibn Khattab's role in Islam. After embracing Islam, Umar ibn Khattab became one of its most devoted and influential supporters. His transformation from an enemy to a stalwart defender of the faith was immediate and profound. Umar quickly gained a reputation for his boldness and unwavering loyalty to the Prophet Muhammad. His strength, intelligence, and fearlessness made him an invaluable companion. In the early years of Islam, Umar played a crucial role in key events such as the battles of Badr, Uhud, and Khandak, where his courage and leadership were pivotal. He was known for standing up against oppression and injustice, often advocating for the rights of the weak and oppressed, especially the poor and slaves. As the Prophet Muhammad's close companion, Umar became one of his trusted advisors. His insight and wisdom helped guide the early Muslim community. After the death of the Prophet Umar continued to serve Islam as the second Caliph, leading with justice, humility, and a fierce commitment to spreading Islam. His leadership saw the expansion of the Islamic State, with key reforms in governance, law, and social welfare. His impact on Islamic society, Umar ibn Khattab had a profound and lasting impact on the development of Islamic society. As the second Caliph, he introduced key reforms that shaped the Islamic State. His leadership focused on justice, fairness, and the welfare of all people, both Muslims and non-Muslims. He established a formal system of taxation, ensuring that resources were distributed to those in need, including the poor, orphans, and widows. Umar was also responsible for organizing the military and expanding the Islamic Empire. Under his leadership, the Islamic State expanded rapidly, conquering vast territories, including Persia and parts of the Byzantine Empire. His strategic planning and leadership in key battles played a crucial role in these victories. One of his most significant contributions was in the field of governance. Umar created a structure for the administration of justice, with a focus on equality before the law. He implemented legal reforms that ensured accountability and transparency, making sure that the rights of all citizens were protected. The human side of Umar ibn Khattab. While Umar ibn Khattab is often remembered for his strength, leadership, and unwavering faith, he also had a deeply compassionate and humble side. Despite his powerful role as Caliph, Umar was known for his empathy and concern for the well-being of the people, particularly the poor and vulnerable. He would often walk through the streets of Medina at night, personally checking on the conditions of his people, ensuring that no one was left in need. One famous story is of Umar carrying sacks of food on his own back to feed the poor, despite his high position. Umar's humility is further exemplified by his self-reflection and repentance. He was known to cry when he thought about his shortcomings and would pray for forgiveness, always striving to better himself in the eyes of Allah. His leadership was rooted not just in strength, but in a profound sense of responsibility and personal accountability to Allah and his people. The death of Umar ibn Khattab. Umar ibn Khattab met his tragic end in 644 CE after serving as caliph for 10 years. While leading the Fajr prayer in the mosque in Medina, he was fatally stabbed by a Persian slave named Abu Lulu, who harbored personal grievances. Despite the fatal wound, Umar continued to lead the prayer until it was finished. After being injured, Umar was carried to his home, where he asked to be surrounded by his companions. His thoughts were focused on the future of the Muslim community. In his final moments, he expressed his hope to be buried beside the Prophet Muhammad and his companion Abu Bakr, a wish that was later fulfilled. Umar's death marked the end of an era of remarkable leadership. His passing left a profound void, as his strength, wisdom, and commitment to justice had guided the Muslim state through a period of immense growth and challenges.